That is Yashinsky and Chris Kaiga, half with two, and you heard it right here on Baze Radio. A very good morning to you and welcome to the AM. Officially in our last hour, and we're about to get into a more conversation as we go. And we have some of the most amazing guests in studio where we'll be talking all things men and mental health. And as we're about to get into it, guys, you know how we do it. Make some noise.
And now, make some noise!
Turn up your radios.
I just want your autograph!
For our Baze radio guest. Stay tuned.
And it gives me great pleasure to let you know that we have Amos and Jack in the because you guys don't have your headphones on. You can?
No, we're just going the flow, man.
Sweet Lord. Yeah, because you guys are so unimpressed. It's like, what is going on?
For the culture, I'll do it.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you, Maria. How are you doing?
I'm amazing. How are you?
Well, very well, very well. Enjoying this International Men's Day.
Somebody just discovered is actually today.
Who is that someone?
Him and Mbithi. So I was like, Mbithi, today's International Men's Day. He's like, there's a day like that.
Wow, that just shows you how much work we need to do.
And the irony of it is that it's also World's Toilets Day.
Yeah.
It's not really a coincidence because you all know men are
amazing.
You may feel in the blanks as you move.
Pillars of society.
You may feel in the blanks as you move. But of course, as we're getting to talk and get to the core of why you guys are actually here today, I'd love to understand from your perspective, being that it's International Men's Day, today we get to celebrate and, appreciate the men in society and the men around us. How do you love to be appreciated personally?
Okay, I'll let Amos go first and I'll pick it up from there.
So how much are you paying? but for real, I think men, we sometimes get overwhelmed by responsibilities, by our weaknesses, by our wins, but we forget who we really are. A lot of us will talk about our successes.
True.
If you ask me how I'm doing, I'll tell you about my business. I'll tell you about how my son has done what. But if you ask any man, how are you doing? In fact, would even ask, let me even ask Jack. So who do you love the most?
Right now, my mom.
Your mom?
Yeah, my mom.
Okay, who else?
My siblings, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you come in?
Yeah, I'm not there.
You see, we are not used to loving ourselves.
That is tragic.
We are not taught to love ourselves that way.
That's tragic.
We are taught to love others, protect others.
Yeah.
We are almost taught to sideline our own or invalidate our own feelings and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's why here sometimes you'll say men are not now meant to cry, men are not meant to rant, have a tantrum. And sometimes you just want to scream and release,
Truly.
So sometimes you're going through so much and you ask yourself, who can you bounce this off? I just almost put it. Sometimes we never put ourselves in the equation. We are always outside of the equation. Yeah.
So I think just to add on that, I feel like as men, first of all, we need to, it's not even about the outward love, but self-love. What can you do with what you have, whether it's your success, whether it's your failure, and how can you become a better man? How can you become a better son? How can you become a better employee? How can you become a better father? How can you become a better husband, a better boyfriend? So it's about that, and that's why probably you have invited us here.
Truly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that you said all these things, but you still haven't touched on how you like to be celebrated.
I know. That's what I was coming in now. I said I'll pick it up from Amos when I talked to
Oh Lord.
So usually, just to summarize what Amos was saying, so I think how men like to be appreciated, and I'll speak maybe for myself, I'll be a bit of Amos. We just want to be seen sometimes. What I've noticed about men is sometimes when a burden is removed from them and they feel they're being seen and they're being assisted, that's when that's how men love to be appreciated. I know those of us who are on TikTok, you see a babe buying for a dude a PS5 and things like those. Things you just want to be appreciated and stuff like that. I know we talk about words of affirmation, but I think for men most it's about action. Like release this burden off me a bit. Help me carry this load. And sometimes men, we're not used to speaking about our challenges, our problems. So you may, for instance, as he's saying, you may be a father, you may be a brother, you may be a boss, you may be a boyfriend, all those are things. And there's so much that's weighing on you. everybody looks up to you for a solution.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there is no rule book. There is no guide to tell you this is the right way, this is the wrong way.
Yeah.
Kila mtu ana guess.
Truly.
Yeah. But for a dude, it's almost like you are meant
have
to,
to have
how
the
don't
answers.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. So sometimes when some of these challenges or these problems are lifted off us, for me speaking, personally speaking, it truly is a way for me to know I'm being appreciated.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think let me add to it. I coach on money for close to 2 decades now.
Okay.
And I can tell you one of the things that has been messing men in relationships is what I've been providing for a very long time. Then the days I'm unable to provide,
It's an issue.
it's an issue. I may have messed up, but when I look back, you never said anything when I was providing. So it breaks the man. And that is why you'll find they'll compromise on anything. Either go into drinking, go into violence, so it happens a lot. So it's always good to and very important for you to appreciate the little effort. Most men, and I'll use the word most, we love providing. We love seeing our children doing well. We love seeing our women. We love seeing our moms, our dads. Like we get a lot of satisfaction in providing. Why don't you just do a little note to your man, to your dad, to your son? Tell them, I appreciate your effort.
Thank you.
That's enough. That's enough. Because at the end of the day, we've taken up the curse. We were told to till the land.
Yeah.
So we've taken up the curse. We are not going to take your curse of carrying babies. We can't. For heaven's sake, we can't. But if you can just, even a text, try. Any lady listening, appreciate that man. It means a lot. It's a motivation. Yeah. Si kutuma mtu ka jangili toka uende. This guy will go to, but that ka confidence, that ka tap behind his back and tell him, if it's your man, just tell him, even speak a word. Tell him I'm praying for you. Yeah.
Just to add on to that, there's something, funny enough, I saw it yesterday. It's called the orange pill theory. So it talks about how true love comes when you can do the most mundane task for your partner. So something as little as peeling an orange for your partner is something can be seen as showing true love.
Truly.
So the same thing is saying, just sending a text and saying, I appreciate you, or just like a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
I think the days I've had rough days in the office, and you get that text from a special person telling you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job. Because sometimes, to be honest, men, we really second guess ourselves.
Yeah.
Because you have this burden that you need not angusha the male gender by doing something that's really silly. So you really sometimes before you make a decision, and sometimes when I take long make a decision because I'm really second guessing myself. I'm like, have I made the right choice? How am I going to affect these guys? So when you have that person giving you that reassurance, no, whatever you're doing is right, then definitely you have you feel a very good way about it as well.
And Jack has put it very well. And I'm beginning to think this thing needs to start early. And it's not about even women. This is about you as a father affirming your son.
Yeah.
Some of us fought so fast, so hard for us to get the attention of our father.
Truly.
To a point whereby you watch any sports day, when a kid is playing, they're always looking
Like,
around.
is-
Where's
yeah,
dad?
is
Is
he
he
here?
watching? And sometimes it's as simple as that. So I feel like we need to be more intentional. If you have a son, start now. Let them not second guess themselves as adults.
Truly.
I got my first hug on my wedding day from my dad.
Do you know, funny enough, let me tell you, there's a statement.
I'm laughing because you're laughing, but this is
No, it's sad.
What?
Let me tell you, there's a statement. Men receive their first flowers at their funeral.
Yeah.
And things like those.
Yeah.
So when Amos was saying these things start early, to be honest, in my head, what I was going for was, like, this day needs to be early in the year.
Yeah.
You said it's mwisho na sherehe. Seriously. Iko katikati ya concert. You'll guys think about us as
Nacho.
Well, hey, I mean, oh my gosh.
Imagine, kuna Black Friday, sijui kuna nini.
Sir. Wait, fellas, we have to hold that conversation there because we need to go on a small music break, but we are coming back to that point because what? Tuendelee by kleptomaniacs for my oldies in the building. Because one said that Yenity Mankush, I can't even believe he actually said that. But We're hanging with Jack and Amos, and we're about to deep dive into why they're actually here. And they're doing an edition of The Way of Man called the Average Joe's Edition. And this is a partnership that is going to be between them and Pulse. So, first of all, I'd love for each of you in your own scope to say what is the significance of these two brands coming together in regard to this edition.
Okay, cool. You want to start off? I kick off, okay.
Okay.
So I'll speak on behalf of Pulse. So of course, most of us, or most guys know Pulse as an entertainment platform.
Yes.
There's a lot of confusion between us and the standards at Pulse, but we're a bit different. So I think in 2022, I think Amos and I had a conversation around just different. It was a casual conversation. There's the different challenges we were facing in regards to manhood. You know, so I told him the different kind of programs I had done in previous past. He told me about his own journey. So we asked ourselves, you know, usually there's no community where men can actually come together and discuss things that are maybe bothering us, or this is a safe space.
Yeah.
And it can be from all ages, from young to as old as you want to be. You find that sometimes even the younger you are, that kind of challenge or trauma builds up to how you're going to be as a father and those other things. So also noting the nature of the kind of audience you really have, which is maybe a bit younger, we felt that if we can catch them early enough, we can really hopefully be trained and culture them into being respectable men in society per se. Also, I think we were discussing that time because we felt, or not we felt, but we had noticed there was, and rightfully, a lot of convo around the girl child. So we felt that, hey, the boys should be attacked, so I'll in a way.
Yeah.
And even from where I sit sometimes in the organization I am, you may find that if you have female bosses, sometimes the men do not relate to that. You know, they're not used to having maybe a woman in power
Yeah.
and how to. So we're like, okay, is this something that we need to address, a safe space? Is it something that is from years gone by that you need to talk about? You know, so I gave my own experience high because I did a program called Man Enough, which guys always
Oh my
bash.
gosh!
Which guys always
I
bash.
think every man in Nairobi has either touched on Man Enough or is.
Or has passed through it. Yeah.
Just as the battalion number.
Exactly. But for me, I keep on saying it was different because it actually showed me that the problems I was facing are not unique. Because you're in a cohort of about 8 to 13 guys, and you realize, oh,
We're all talking almost about the same
thing. So, but then we noticed that after, the community is not really there. So we felt, okay, how can we bring this back and create this safe space?
Yeah.
So that's where we said, oh, let's do something. So he's also championing something else on his end, which he'll speak about. And that's how we came together. And so we did one in 2022. We didn't do one last year, but now we said, okay, no, let's be a bit more consistent as men. Let's do this a bit more often, and then speak to our brothers and see how we can assist each other.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, it is like I was sharing earlier. Actually, a friend of mine, I met him in 2008. So we've been friends for long. He's Australian. And one of the things he did, he saw there was a lot of, what can I say, a lot of plastic face men put in certain environments. So if you go to church, you have to dress up in a blazer when you're elder, but nobody knows the things you're struggling with. You get into a family setup, you have to be the man. Your wife has no idea what you're going through. So he started visiting, imagine, locals. You get me, in his neighborhood. So you'd find 3 guys who are always meeting on a weekly basis, and he'd be like, can I join you guys every week? Yeah, whatever you're drinking, I'll do my coffee, you can do your BLS. Yeah. So he asked them, what if we do away with politics, we do away with religion, and we do away with discussing women? Can we discuss ourselves?
True.
How are you really doing? How is your masculinity inside you? How are you feeling? Are you feeling confident? How are you socially? Okay, how are you relating with people? How are you relating with other people outside? And that brought about the issue of now average Joes, your average kind of guy, a man in the streets. How is he really doing? Once in a week, he'll pass by either a coffee joint, a local, and he will find friends who will discuss soccer. But what if we are more intentional? So the guy started that, and it's been trending in Australia.
Wow.
And even for me, when I was going through certain challenges, the guy was there for me. He would call me every now and then.
Bless him.
Imagine. And now he's gone global. And when we sat with Jack, and I realized I'm raising sons, probably and I have a couple of men who work for me. One of them is 24. I am 42. Now, my son is 12. Age-wise, who's closer to my son? Yeah, he's called Anderson. Now, Anderson is easier for him to mentor my kids because they can relate with him. Now, imagine we leave Anderson out in the dark. He's not mentored, he's out there. He's just doing his own thing. Who will mentor my kids in case I'm not there? So we are trying to see how can men find a safe space away from anywhere you have to pretend. We just want you to be you. You will not be judged. We want you to tell us, okay, I'm here, I don't want to talk, fine. Jack comes and tells us how he came out of a debt of 100 million. And the guy is probably owing the landlord 20,000. You see, he'll be like, okay, kumbe things cannot be that bad. Someone tells you, niliachwa na bibi jana. Someone tells you, I went through a divorce, took care of myself, I'm now surviving. Or someone tells you, I'm
struggling to get married. Really?
So we have to get to a place whereby I'm comfortable in sitting with a group of men without feeling judged. In fact, 2022 we had very nice games. Tulicheza choboua, tulishona tulitengeneza gari za wire. I mean, it was fun. And more activities are coming up this Saturday.
Love that.
So we want to create that consistency so that now we are right now in Kilimani. Is there a local place that men meet once a week to just talk about themselves? Are we together? No, can we make it weekly? There are guys on Thika Road. There are guys in Rongai. Identify a place. We are more than ready to be frequenting at least a meeting a week so that now a man can find a community. Yes. So that is now consistency. Because let me tell you something. Men, we've dropped the ball. We are doing badly. I believe if we take our place as men, I don't think we'd be going through the challenges we're going through now. The femicide, the drug abuse, they're really bad. I was talking to someone and they were telling me it is so amazing how many unreported suicide deaths are there. In Kenya, someone committed suicide, but you don't want to report it as suicide because of the shame it carries. So it is really bad. So I'm hoping that we can start this movement and have men just find a place that they can always that is practical, that they can always go and start. So that's why we started this movement.
I love that.
Radios,
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're still about to get into more conversation about this and how you could definitely be plugged into this. But for now, we get to enjoy more music. This is Tattoo with Tesso coming right up. That is Tattoo with Tesso playing on Baze Radio. A very good morning to you and welcome to the AM. Only 20 minutes to reach the top of the hour, but we're still getting into more conversation with Jack and Amos right here on Baze. And as we were talking about the average Joe's edition of The Way of Men, I think it's only right that we get to understand what are some of the main topics that are going to be discussed in these spaces, and also what are the measurable outcomes that you guys are hoping to achieve with this particular edition.
Okay, maybe I'll kick off then. Almost pick up from there. Yeah, so I think we noticed there's some certain common pillars that all men go through. I think one, and which is very key, was definitely mental health of a man. I think the burden of being a man sometimes in lacking the sense of community in terms of conversing on your various challenges. So we felt that's number one. Just a health check on you, how you doing. As you're saying, when you asked me the same question, who do you love? I was knowing the picture.
True.
So what's that in terms of self-love? How are you doing? How are you relating with your people? I think every evening, for those of us who are religious, I always try to make a prayer whereby I want to be a better brother, son, leader, colleague. Things you may take for granted, but sometimes you may need to do that. So one, we felt mental health was very important. Number two, also we felt in terms of fatherhood. One, how do you relate with your own father? And number two, if you are a father, how you relate with your son? We once had a convo where we were having that sometimes even, and this was a lady speaking about this, and she was like, sometimes when us as ladies, we don't prepare our partner for being a father. True. Yeah, it just comes to him, and you expect him to know.
To pick up the slack and move.
I remember the time I went to my pal got a kid a few years back, and we were going to see the kid in the hospital. I think the second day, and I could hear the wife berating him for not knowing how to wrap the kid.
To swaddle the baby.
Yeah. She's like, how did you not know this? You're now a father, you should be knowing this. And I'm like, It's not like
Right,
there's a
he's
book.
like 24 hours into fatherhood,
there's no
bro.
book
Calm
really
down.
that. You get so those kind of things. Then of course definitely as well financially as well. How can you be financially sustainable? Make the right investments. There are a lot of things that attract men or attract men's money. So how can you make the right decision when it comes to finances? Because of the right foundation and pillars for having a successful life.
Yeah.
Looking forward, and of course definitely as well, if you're looking for a partner, what are your things you're looking at as well? And then obviously, and why this is very important for us, is a sense of community for the average Joe. So we want, because we noticed and we have seen it, we want to create a community whereby if, and I'm sure you'll speak about other pillars, that if these things are not being discussed, who can you run to?
True.
Who's your brother? Who's your guardian? Who's your mate who you can call up and you can be vulnerable and nobody's judging you and you can speak about all the things. And sometimes they may not even have the answer, but just want somebody to listen.
Just listen,
Just
truly.
listen, and then maybe down the line you can have an answer to that. But you can add on.
Yeah, it's true. I like the final goal basically is to have that consistency of a place that I know I have brothers who can, elder brothers, younger brothers who are either doing worse than I am or doing much better than I am. Because
Yeah.
you know, you're laughing. You remember, I don't know which years you guys grew up. I was in this primary school where the head teacher was the boss. And if there was noise coming from your class, he would come. First of all, first round is you lie on the desks, like a pipe, he would just come. First of all, give 20
Flogging
each.
everyone?
Yes. Then the second one, probably boys one side, you turn around, you bend, you get your strokes. Like, he would really punish. He was like really thorough. Probably is one of the reasons why corporal punishment was banned. So there was always that weak guy who would see that teacher and start crying.
Yeah.
So when that teacher left, a new one came, and this guy did not cry. So he was always the first one to be, punished.
Aw.
And even after he was punished, he didn't cry. So we were like, this is a lighter punishment.
Yeah.
So sometimes the same thing, you might think you're going through something alone, and then you find, Jack probably went through and he's
Even worse, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was really down, a friend of mine told me there's a Nigerian saying that says every dog eats nini, poop. It's only the foolish ones that leave some in their mouth. Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You can find a dog that is very clean. Even those
Yeah.
ones, chihuahuas that you keep in the house. If they
They'll
find
be
that
doing their
thing,
own
they will-
thing. True.
you get it.
Very
But
true.
it's about you knowing, okay, am I speaking to the right person?
Yeah.
And this is also, that brings the issue of mentorship. I know there are certain names I may not mention here that people say, hey, men are following that guy.
Tough.
We have no choice because that's the only person who looks like
They are.
we can listen
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Because I asked someone the other day, who's your favorite billionaire?
Yeah.
Who is your favorite billionaire?
I don't have any, to be honest.
Uh-huh. Now, they were giving me CG, Jeff Bezos, they were giving me big names. I said, they were telling, give me a Kenyan one. Then I'm like, why are you delaying? They were like, okay, we are not so sure about how they acquired their wealth. So that brings the issue of mentorship.
Yeah.
So who are you looking up to?
Really.
You see, because if someone mentions a topic and no one else is speaking about it,
Yeah,
you'll
you
be like,
look for whatever to fill that
whatever will
gap.
fill that gap.
Yeah.
So if we don't settle for something, we'll settle for anything.
Truly.
So that's the same thing. So we want at least guys to find mentors, whether in your career, whether in marriage, whether in your coming out of drug abuse. Jack has been smoking weed for the last 27 years, so he's been recovering.
Allegedly.
But how did he come out of it? So it has to be a conversation whereby I'm finding relevance in the kind of relationships I'm forming.
Yeah.
So there's masculinity, there's now masculinity is basically now you just taking your position as a man.
Yeah.
Okay? The right position. You see, most of the times we've been told you have to be tough, you have
Macho.
to be... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought I would ever see my dad apologize to a child. When I see him with my sons, he'll be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude.
Where were you?
You get my
point. You must be behind your son like
you get,
Clearly he's on a tour, so
yeah.
keep it going.
Yeah. So we've talked about mentorship, mateship, masculinity, and now mateship. Mateship basically is friendship, where we have intentional friends.
Yeah.
People who can call you out. You know,
No yes men.
people will,
That part.
someone will
that
tell
part.
you, dude, slow
nonsense.
down.
Yeah, you're messing up. Stop.
Yeah, just stop.
Truly.
Yeah, so I
And
believe
I think that's an underrated thing, by the way. Having male friendships who actually
Who
call
put
out.
you in check?
Like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to have friends who are actually like that. They call you out on some of the things you've done. Like, hey, but now una choma.
I like that.
Yeah.
My son, one of the reasons why I now will not go past a red light. We are from church. You know the way it's orange, it's about to turn, and then it turns red before you get to
Yeah.
Then my son was like, Dad. I was like, yes. What are you doing? Yeah, that was it. What do you tell him?
That's all you needed, really.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need a real person to ask you, what are you doing?
Yeah, you snap back to reality.
Put you in check.
And before I started to explain myself, I said, dude, just
don't.
shut up. I told him, I'm sorry. I went past a red light. He was like, okay, don't do it again.
Please.
And you know the first point about the billionaires. You know, it's very funny. I don't know how many of us follow politics here, but there's also how Trump won the American election and why he picked certain guys like Joe Rogan to go for their podcast. Because he's actually targeting that youthful man, macho kind of thing. So he actually, as you were saying, there's certain influencers we don't want to name for certain reasons. Yeah, but you see, because there was that lack of that positive male role model, and funny enough, that's the theme for this year. Positive male role model for International Men's Day. Who had to fill that gap? Trump. And that's how some of these things happen. And if we don't take the rightful place and wrestle back some of this and have positive masculine energy there and mateship and whatnot, then our society will go to the dogs for sure.
Truly.
Yeah.
Whew, yeah, that was a lot. But hey, as we're about to wrap this up, I need you to tell us more about the 23rd of November. What is going down? What should the people, urge the people? What should they expect? And yeah, please, any more details that you'd want to add about the 23rd, please.
Okay, cool. So I think I'll begin. I can finish up. So yeah, 23rd November, this Saturday, we'll be meeting at 36 in Apple Chambers for an event whereby men will be coming together, celebrating, as I say, mateship, mentorship, and positive masculinity around the male folk. We definitely want to create a community, leaving a lasting impression. So I think it kicks off from 12 p.m. 12 p.m.
Okay.
So come, be your fellow men. We'll have games, activities, convo. We don't want titles.
Okay.
Just come who you are.
As you are. Okay.
Titles, leave them at the gate.
Okay.
We don't care
what you do, what you did, what you ain't do.
Yeah. The bare minimum, just be a man.
I get you.
Yeah.
Speaking of, as you say, be a man, is there an age limit or... So
No,
even
above
an
18. No,
above
no,
18.
above 18.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have to be above 18.
Okay. So above 18. Okay.
Yeah. So I like the part, just come as you are. It doesn't matter. I mean, we've tried to make it as affordable as possible. 500 minimum. There's a reason why I'm saying minimum. Because there are those of us with sons who'd like to pay it forward.
Yeah.
There's you're a lady. You feel like, hey, I need to pay for my man. At least let him go and play. Basically, we are starting with playing. We're starting with games, activities. We are happiest, best left alone.
True.
Last time we had an 18-year-old.
Joy.
We had an 18-year-old all the way to a 67-year-old.
Yeah.
And you saw the things they did, and they were really happy.
Yeah.
The one we did, I did in June. I just called men, and it went past midnight. I was leaving. We had the fire pit. And guys, we are not judging you. Come as you are. If you can't afford, please DM us. Tell us we can't afford. We'll do a campaign and people will pay for it.
Yeah.
You have no excuse.
Yeah, to not show up, really.
Yeah. And please, I like the way you say no titles. Just know, if you think you're going through something, there's someone who is going through worse and someone who's much better off. Just come as you
Or has gone through it and succeeded.
Yes. The good thing is that we also have partners who have brought in counselors. If you're already going through something, there's a
They'll be
counselor
readily
ready for you.
available.
Male
I love
counselors. Male counselors. They're ready for you. We'll have barbecue, we'll share bitings, and then we'll share stories, and then we'll zone ourselves to go to cohorts of the regions where we come from.
Okay.
So that for me is a big invite to all men. If you happen to be Nairobi, if you can't afford, just DM us, let us know. We can see how we can.
Also, if you want to come to where you are, if there's a region where you feel
Yeah.
we can do this,
Yeah.
I
They
think
should reach out.
Yeah.
How can they please? Please
No,
plug
DM
us? How
still,
can they
there's still
reach
the
you?
DM, the same thing, DM.
What's the name of your page?
Mine is Money Clinic.
Okay.
The spouse
Money
life,
clinic,
Kenya.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I think we're not even discussing like suicide and whatnot. There's a lot that's happening in the regions that we didn't get to mainstream media.
Truly.
So if you
And
can
now
go
that
there.
you mentioned, there are people probably who are like on the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are on the edge. Mtu sahi anafikiria the way he can look forward. Before you do whatever nonsense you want to do,
Pull up on Saturday
come on
first.
Saturday. Then after that, if you decide to continue with that,
Yeah, that is sour.
just
That
postpone.
is- oh my
Just
God.
postpone. I'm serious.
Shikilia.
Because
That
I'm
is
telling
crazy.
You, let me tell you something. And this is not even. It may sound funny, but you never know. You never know. I'm telling you, 80-90% of men, suicide thoughts are very close to you.
Yeah,
It happens a lot to us. So before you do that, just come on Saturday.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, hey, guys, you heard it. 23rd November, pull up and celebrate International Men's Day in absolute style. But before we conclude, just shortly, to the both of you, what would you say the success for the Average Joe's edition looks like to you? What would you define as, you know what, this event was superb?
My belief is that if it can grow outside of what it currently is, I think above everything else, have a community of men.
Okay.
Positive energy, positive masculinity, whereby it's no longer about Amos Money Gossip or Money Clinic or Pulse Live. It has a life of its own, and guys are coming together, and we can see the next generation, the current, next, and upcoming are all positive.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is good that Jack has brought it up. We don't have leaders. We have hosts.
Yeah.
So our partners, Jack and I, plus our other gentlemen who have funded this Chini ya Maji, there are some who don't want to be mentioned.
Yeah.
We are hosts. If I come to Kawangware and these Average Joes, they are not leaders, they are two co-hosts. Okay? Our goal, my success, whether they show up 10 men or 300
Your
men,
job
because
is
that's
done.
or because 300 is the limit. As long as each man says, I have found a family of brothers, then for me, my work is done.
I love
Let's form more families wherever we can.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
All the best with this event. I will definitely be in those DMs to
Invite
kuona ilienda aje.
Invite Max and Jax here. Ambia wakuja.
Chaxi is not even in town, but I will definitely tell Moas about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
And at least buy 1 or 2 tickets.
Listen, like I said, I got you. I will actually pay for 2 men. I will pay for 2 men.
Guru, you're again.
Goodness. Oh my, this was absolutely lovely. But again, 23rd of November, you said it's at Upper Hill, 316
Upper Chambers.
316 Upper Hill.
Yes.
Most gates where NTSA is.
Okay.
Near Fairmont.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually opposite the National Library gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those wale wasomi.
Yeah, actually, the landmark is right opposite
Yeah,
the
it's across.
prison
So
building.
it's easy
Love
access
that.
in terms of public transport. It's safe. There's enough parking. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
My men's, make sure you all pull up. And of course, babes, support the men.
Please.
Nunweni tickets. Push your men's to pull up for this event. And yeah, should be a good time. Thank you, gentlemen.
Asante sana. Asante sana.
This is Baze Radio.
We are 254 to the core.